Hi, my name is Danny and I work for Informatica Global Support. This video KB would illustrate the load from Informatica session using external loader in staged mode. The agenda is understanding the stages involved in a session where an external loader is used and a brief look into the specifics on how to understand the same from session logs and system call tracing using the strace utility. For this example, a very simple mapping has been considered. The mapping reads from a flat file source and writes to a relational target. In this case, it is Oracle. Typically for session using external loader, the target's writer type is overridden as file type in the session, and the connection for this target is pointed to an already created loader connection. So if you go to a session where we have a target, the type of the target is changed from relational to flat file, like this. It is changed from relational to flat file because we deal with external loader. And the connection type for external loaders is pointed to a loader, is made of the type loader, and it's made to point to a value that is already created. Typical properties of an external loader that would be of interest would be the path where the external loader is, and this path is on the server machine where the Informatica process runs. So this is typically the path where the SQL loader is available on the server machine, and one of the properties that could be of interest is the eStaged property. By virtue of this checked, a stage file is created by PMD TM for the consumption of data from the external loader. So the typical flow of execution when it comes to the loads to the target base, to the target database, is as follows. The PMD TM executes, and during its execution it creates the data file, or we can call it the stage file. The PMD TM also creates a control file which has the instructions to be taken up by the external loader. The PMD TM forks a child process. It uses the execve command to create the child, and the loader process is started into the child process with the required arguments, and typically it waits for the child process to exit. In the session logs, typically one can expect a message which is WRT_8027. A sample would be like seen here. Over here it says that it starts an external loader with process ID 28095, and this process ID is for the external loader, whereas the PMD TM's process ID is 28045. And then for us to understand what exactly happens under the scenes for the external loader, if we run an strace before the session is started using -tt, -tf, -o, and -p, we can probe, or we can inspect the system calls in the trace file created, and from there we could possibly see the exec call, and as you can see here, the process ID is 28095, which is nothing but the process ID of the external loader, and it is started with these arguments, which is the SQL loader, the path of the loader, the param file, the control file, and the likes. So in a nutshell, The flow of PMD TM is as follows. It creates the data file, it creates the control file, it forks a child process, and it starts the external loader in the child process. The external loader reads the data from the data file that was created in the staged mode. It also gets the metadata from the control file that was created and goes ahead and loads data into the database. A closer look into the strace file can give more details as to how the data was written into the stage file and how it was read. So if you see here, 28095, which is nothing but the external loader process ID, it goes and it opens a file which was nothing but the data file that was created by PMD TM, and it starts reading from the file descriptor. 28095 starts reading from file descriptor 23, which is nothing but the file descriptor return for the open call, and it reads the data that is there created in the stage file. It reads the data from this file descriptor. And similarly, we can also go and inspect the trace file to see how the data had gone into the stage file from the PMD TM process ID. I hope this video helps you understand how PMD TM typically uses external loaders to load data onto it, and we would love to hear from you. You can get back to us on supportvideos@informatica.com, or you can tweet at https://twitter.com/infosupport. Thank you.